All right, welcome back. Today we are going to do Genesis 6 through 8, part 1, where we're going to be concentrating on Genesis 6, preparations for the flood. All right, so let's start off with some review. We are in the book of Genesis. As a reminder, the word Genesis means the beginning. So we're going over what happened in the beginning. God created the earth in 6 days, and it was good. Part of this is he created man in his own image, which means they were created in his own likeness. The first people were Adam and Eve. However, Adam and Eve sinned against God, and at this time the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized that they were naked. Now, God had said that the punishment for this sin would be death. However, God promised a redemption would come, and he said, "And I will put an enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." So people are looking out for this redemption. However, sin is making a big impact in the world. We learned about Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve's sons, and how Cain killed Abel. We learned then about the descendants of Cain and Abel. I only put a few up here for the review, but the ones I want to concentrate right now are Lamech and Noah. As a reminder, when Lamech had a son Noah, he said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground that the Lord has cursed." So they're looking for this redemption, and Lamech is saying that Noah is going to have a part in this. So today we're going to be focusing on Noah and his son Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So let's start off with a little bit of vocabulary. So first and foremost, the word ark is one you're going to hear a lot the next few days. Now, in this context, ark just basically means a boat. So as you're hearing that, you can think of a boat. Okay, cubit. What is a cubit? A cubit is a way to measure. So during the time of Noah, they did not measure things in inches and centimeters, obviously. What they would do is they would take the length from the tip of their middle finger to their elbow, and that would be a cubit. So this was about 20 inches or 50 centimeters. I put a link down there, and I'll put it in the description of a place where you can find some more information about what a cubit was back then. All right, this next word is very important, and it is the word covenant. So, a covenant is a very serious argument or important promise that is made. You can kind of think of it as a modern day contract, covenant. All right, so let's get started in Genesis 6. We're going to be in verse 1, and it says, "When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives as many as they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown." And I'm going to pause here. If you're confused about what happened, you are not alone. And I'll go ahead and say I am not an expert in theology. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a Christian who loves the Word of God. And so this passage does go a little bit above my understanding. I don't completely understand what's going on here, so I do not feel qualified to explain it. I do know, however, that every word of the Word of God is important, including this passage. So I'm going to include some information down in the description if you want to know more about this. But some things we do know for sure is that this did happen. The sons of God and the daughters of men got together. They had children. This was the time the Nephilim, who were mighty men, were around. And it seems like due to all this that was going on, the Lord said, man's life shall be 120 years. If you remembered from before the descendants of Adam and Eve, people were living for a very long time. So it sounds like people are going to start living for a little bit, are going to start living for a little bit shorter. Okay, so let's continue in verse 5. "The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I have created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heaven, for I am sorry that I have made them. So with sin on earth, it is going to be so bad that God is grieved. He is regretting making man, and he has decided he would blot them out. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God, and Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So in contrast to what was going on in the world, where every inclination of the heart is evil, Noah proves himself to be righteous. He is walking with God. So that's pretty cool. Now we're in verse 11 where it says, Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their ways on the earth. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you are to make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. Its breadth, 50 cubits, and its height, 30 cubits. All right, I'm going to pause right here. All right, we're in the middle of explaining what the ark is, and just take a second to say this picture that I actually got from the organization Answers in Genesis, has a place in Kentucky where they built a replica of the ark. So they read all these biblical instructions and they tried to make what they believe the ark would have looked like. So obviously this is not a picture of the real ark. The real ark might have looked completely different. However, they did a whole lot of research to try to guess what the ark might have looked like. So that's why I included this picture. I had the privilege of going there, and so I did take this picture, and this is what the ark might have looked like. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to continue. So now we're in verse 16. Make a roof for the ark and finish it a cubit above, and set the door of the ark in its side. Make it with a lower, second, and third decks. For behold, I will bring flood waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, in which the breath of life under heaven. Everything that is on the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you and your sons' wives with you. And of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds according to their kinds, and of the animals according to their kinds. Of every creeping thing that is on the ground according to its kinds. 2 of every sort shall come in to you to keep them alive. Also take with you every sort of food that is eaten, and store it up. It shall serve as food for you and for them. Noah did this. He did all that God commanded him. All right, so what God is doing is he is saying the earth has become evil. And so I'm going to destroy all the people on it. In fact, everything that has breath. But because Noah is a righteous man, God chose Noah. And he said, I want you and your wife and your sons. Remember, we said he had 3 sons and their wives to come on the ark. And I want you to bring 2 of every type of animal onto the ark. So next time we're going to learn more about what this flood is going to look like. But right now, I really want to dwell on 2 things. First of all, how massive this ark was. So you can imagine it needed to fit all of these animals on it. But also God's goodness during this time. Even though man is evil, God has picked a plan of redemption. He is not just destroying man completely. He has built a way to save Noah and his family. And of course, we know that as the rest of the world is going to be destroyed, God is going to use Noah's line, of course, to bring through Jesus Christ, who is ultimately going to be the Savior. Secondly, is Noah's obedience throughout this time. You might notice that no flood has happened. God has just said, hey, this flood will happen, and Noah does it. I always thought that was pretty incredible. So, again, next time we will hear more about the flood, and I hope you have a fantastic day.